Welcome to a 2v2 on Rails and Metal. This game is going to be Beemer and Amerigasm versus Chief10Beers and Burk. Beemer and Amerigasm will be playing in the south base, as allies always do with this patch, as WS, and Burk and Chief10Beers will be representing the Oster and Oberkommando West, respectively. It looks like Burk is going with a Grenadier start, Chief10Beers going with a Volksgrenadier start, Beemer going, of course, with double rifle start, and Amerigasm also following up with a double rifleman start. Rear echelon troops making a quick push for the fuel up here, not grabbing the house, instead going to capture the fuel. Some players go immediately for the house to give themselves vision range and secure it against a push by the enemy Stern Pioneers. Other players prefer to capture the point quickly. He's going to be doing the latter, possibly going for a fighting position,
Knock it off and listen
or
up.
just following up by moving over there. And Amerigasm will be moving up into the trench, it looks like.
Round's got us pegged.
No. Looks like he's actually going to just stand on the south side of the house and fire on it. We will note that this house does have only one window facing towards the south, so it actually, this whole area very strongly favors the south base with this defensive position in this trench. The fact that this house can easily be overwhelmed just by standing in this area, and just the general positioning of everything. I actually think Rails and Metal is the most balanced map to have been ported over from Company of Heroes 1. The fact that vaulting was added to the game has really made it a much more dynamic and interesting map. A really huge improvement over the first game, and it's, I think, probably one of my favorite 2v2 maps now. The only problem with it being that it's still really long and narrow, and it can degenerate into a campfest, but not nearly to the extent that Minsk, Pocket, or Road to Kharkov can, and I think there are a lot of flanking routes available, lots of room to work with, even for the United States, so I think it's a really good map. This should be a really good game. It looks like in the first engagement, the US were able to force off the Overcommando player here on the right side, but they are unopposed over here on the left. Burke simply sending a single squad of Grenadiers to capture and a machine gun up into the building to defend. It looks like a light attempt at harassment is going to go up here from Amerigasm. That is, of course, going to get pushed back by the MG42 very soon. Meanwhile, we do have a Kubel wagon harassing these riflemen in green cover. The Kubel wagon still managing to suppress, even at max range, even in green cover. Unbelievable. But we do have a nice flank coming up here from Beemer. Very nice. Kubel wagon probably will have difficulty pathing through this forested area, and he's just letting it sit there and auto-rotating. Beemer needs to get out of the arc of fire and keep moving, though. What is he doing? Oh, he just stood there. He may have been able to finish it off if his micro had been a little bit more on point, but now with the Stern Pioneers moving up, Rifleman also following up from Amerigasm. Looks like he left the trench, trying to support. However, the Riflemen are still suppressed, and those Stern Pioneers are going to make quick work of that squad, and Amerigasm should probably just pull back here. This is definitely not going to be able to catch up to that Kubel wagon. Meanwhile, they're both kind of capturing this point simultaneously. Amerigasm notices first and moves to do something else. We do have an German mortar being set up behind the building to fire on these riflemen. The mortar is pretty effective against Americans. Americans are very mobile. They have very few static defenses. The fighting position is highly vulnerable to the mortar. We do have one fighting position here. Positioned interestingly, we'll take note of the fact that he has put it behind a shot blocker here so that a pack could not easily destroy it. Raketten could not easily destroy it. Also taking advantage of the fact that a Raketten in an elevated position will have difficulty firing on a firing position very close to a building, often just firing over top of the fighting position and hitting the ground behind it. So, possibly a little known fact there. We do have riflemen taking the point, but we have a very aggressive push for machine guns and grenadiers here. Since they've been completely unopposed on the left, they've now overextended themselves dangerously far. Look at this. Massive overextension, incredibly vulnerable to a flank here. Attempting to pin your opponent in his base probably not the greatest idea at the 5-minute mark, especially not as Auster. And I think he may risk losing one of these machine gun squads, especially if Amerigasm helps in this push. This ambulance looks like it may have been somewhat unfortunately rally pointed here. I think he is... I hope he notices that soon. Looks like over here the machine guns are going to get away. I think that if Amerigasm had taken advantage of body blocking and chasing, he may have been able to steal one of those machine guns, but unfortunately they got away. It looks like Beemer may not be watching this squad. I'm not sure it's going to get away with a Kuba wagon and a rifle squad in the retreat path. Oh, a rifle grenade from those grenadiers just wiped one of Amerigasm's squads as well. So that hurts. And yes, Beemer did lose that retreating squad. So lots of squad wipes from both Americans. Meanwhile, all of the Auster squads making it home safely. Kuba wagon's still alive. Things not going too well for the Americans currently. But if we take a look at technology, Captain going up for Beemer and Amerigasm going with nothing. Oh no, he has a lieutenant hitting the field, so his lieutenant is out, and he does have the manpower for a utility car, so he may be thinking about getting that, or possibly, actually, judging by his resources, I would think he is saving for the AA half-track, and they are just barely scraping enough fuel together to bring that onto the field as it is. Oops. Beemer choosing Recon Support Company, so that's an interesting choice at this point in the game. Not 100% sure I agree with it, but alright.
75mm howitzer standing by.
Amerigasm has not chosen a doctrine yet. Chief10Beers going with Luftwaffe, and Burk also has not chosen yet. Things are sort of quiet as the Americans regroup, and the Auster retakes a little territory on the left. Oberkommando player setting up a defensive position over here on the right. Looks like a push coming up from the Allies. Those Sturm Pioneers are heavily wounded, and they're going to be forced away. We also have an MG34 setting up, or MG42, sorry. Nice mortar lands right there, forcing that rifle squad back. We also have some LMGs getting upgraded on this Grenadier squad, another MG42 setting up here. His rifleman will lose out at long range, so he's going to have to find some way to close this gap, preferably with smoke, but I don't believe that he's researched rifle grenades. No, he has not. We actually see him getting a utility car, so I was wrong. He was not saving for an AA half-track, he's just getting an extremely late utility car. An 8-minute utility car is not necessarily the best idea when there's a Puma on the field already. We will note that Beemer's captain did some nice damage to it. Oh, and it just got its engine damaged by something. I don't know, I have no idea what just did that. I don't know how its engine just got damaged. Maybe a bazooka connected with the rear. Kuba wagon laying down lots of suppression. The push over here looks like it's definitely going to fail. Lieutenant's not going to be able to beat out this many Grenadier squads.
Get ready. Warning order.
Although they are standing in open ground and using green cover. That just goes to show how much the Lieutenant's damage has really been destroyed. The Thompson and the Bar used to be much more effective, but both of them have been nerfed very hard, and now the Lieutenant is really quite overpriced, actually. What you get out of him.
Well, grab your shit. Follow me.
I need cover.
The capture point is under attack.
Sturm Pioneers look like they're going to be getting away. We do have the utility car without armor skirts diving into two squads of... Oh geez, I'm not sure this is gonna go well for this utility car. He doesn't have the armor skirts, and I don't even think that second pass was necessary. I think the MG42 probably could have finished it off.
Knock it off.
I don't know what he was thinking there. That was a waste. We do have a 50 cal being produced over here on the right. It looks like Amerigasm may not be fully paying attention to all of his fronts. He has spread himself very thin, not really dedicating himself fully to the left side, trying to support his teammate over here on the right. Unfortunately, he is not using anything particularly micro-intensive over here, just a machine gun, which you can make pretty static, and an ambulance. So he will probably be focusing most of his attention on his infantry over here on the left, but that being said, I think his micro is suffering a little bit from splitting himself up like that. His Puma is also wreaking havoc on the forces over here. It looks like an M8 Greyhound just got taken out. AT gun firing on the Puma. Unfortunately, the second shot did not connect. I'm not sure if he used attack ground or if he just auto-fired at the infantry there once the Puma popped smoke. Of course, you should pretty much always follow up your first shot on an enemy Puma with attack ground on it, even if it doesn't pop smoke, because as soon as it pops smoke, it will drop aggro, and you can basically just assume that a Puma is going to pop smoke after the first AT gun shot. You should always follow up your second shot with an attack ground and just hope to hit it. Because if you wait for it to pop smoke and then try and react, you may the half second or whatever of input delay or whatever it is could be the difference between that Puma dying or surviving. 50 cal taking up a position in the house. It looks like things are going pretty well over here on the right side. The Puma's taken some significant damage. It will be vetting up very soon, and of course a vetted Puma is still a very significant threat. A lot of changes in this patch, but no changes to the Puma, so it's just as deadly as it ever was. We do have a rifle grenade hitting that half-track, so we'll have a damaged engine. Beemer moving up to support with a Greyhound, and actually the Austere light vehicles are basically the only things that the Greyhound is even remotely good against. Unfortunately, even the 222 is a decent, is able to give it a run for its money. I think the M8 Greyhound will win out in that engagement, and of course a rifle grenade seals the deal. Half-track also taking heavy damage, and Burk is just not going to be able to win this. The vast majority of his forces are just not in position for this engagement, and he's losing all of his vehicles. He, in fact, that got abandoned. Bundle grenade going out on the Greyhound that doesn't really do as much as I think he thought it might. Pack, on the other hand, devastating shot. It looks like forces arriving to support just in time, and he's not going to be able to steal the half-track, but he should be able to destroy it if he focuses it down with his lieutenant with the bar. I think if he had, he probably could have destroyed it now. It looks like the enemy may be able to recover it, unfortunately. Definitely should have destroyed that with something when they had the chance. Now, they will continue to have forward reinforce points as soon as those piles begin repairs. Meanwhile, over on the right, it looks like the Upper Commando West moving up for another push. Stern piles moving up on the point. Captain... moving into the trench, 50 cal, still in the house. M8 continuing to circle, looking for good targets. I think the M8 is very hard to use effectively since it has so much less utility than the utility car. It can still get armored skirts, but it doesn't have mine, it doesn't have smoke. It doesn't have, basically, the things that make the utility car so good. Canister round going out. Oh, wow! That was a good one. That was a really good one, but this utility car is gonna die because the Puma's here and it has a damaged engine. Or not utility car, it's M8. Looks like he is going to make an attempt at saving the crew. I have no idea why that Puma just destroyed the empty M8. That would have been trivially easy to steal with a reinforced point right here. That was a huge mistake by Chief10Beers. That would have been incredibly easy to steal. It was even at pretty high health. So the other M8 would have not been able to destroy it either. I have no idea what he was thinking there. I have no clue why he did that. Looks like we do have Vet 1 on the AT gun over here, so that's good. It's also got 2 kills, actually. And they're just both infantry snipes. A new M8 doing what it can to some infantry over here, and that is a lot of resources being pumped into these M8s. Keep in mind they are 40 fuel, which is absurdly overpriced considering you're getting a vehicle that's worse than the 20 fuel utility car. Only 280 manpower though, so it is a bit of a trade-off. The utility car, 340 manpower, so kind of an oddly priced unit, really, if you think about it. I guess the fact that it's a call-in is the justification for its high price, but the pathetic damage that its main gun does is just makes this unit so hard to justify, and I'm really surprised to see 3 of them. That's he's investing so heavily in these light vehicles, he's really going to struggle, I think, for the in the mid to late game. It's already 15 minutes in and I haven't seen a single allied tank. And Shermans are one of the most reliable counters to Pumas that you can get. And when the opponent actually is this low on anti-tank, you really need to bring in that medium armor to help you push. Axis are not in a great position right now, but they're doing all right. And given enough time, I think things are going to be problematic. Nice shot from these AT guns. I think the pack howitzer just killed that Puma. No? I have no idea what just happened there. I don't know how that Puma just died. It just got hit very quickly, twice in rapid succession. I think a pack howitzer shot hit it. That's my guess anyway. I kind of missed it. I'm not sure. That's what it looks like happened to me. Artillery being called in. It looks like white phosphorus, if I'm correct. Yeah, white phosphorus coming in. It's going to deal heavy damage to that mortar. Looks like it also caught both of these grenadier squads. Unfortunately, Amerigasm has not researched grenades. If only he had researched grenades, he would be able to do devastating damage here. And he was focus firing the pack. He probably could have wiped that squad. Unfortunately, he did not. The light vehicle just got destroyed. I think that was his ambulance. Where was his ambulance? I don't know. Yep, there it is. This stuff got it. Oh, wow. Did you see that pack howitzer shot? Wow. That wiped an MG on retreat. That's bullshit. I call bullshit all over that. I can't believe that just happened. I've never seen that before. That wasn't no high explosive barrage either. That was just a regular auto fire. And that's exactly what makes this this unit so good. Once it hits Vet 2, its damage literally doubles. And just becomes devastating. And it is just now hitting Vet 2, so it's, if they can keep the veterancy on that unit, which is hard to do given its short range. It actually has shorter range than standard mortars, which is ridiculous because it's an artillery piece. Oh my gosh! Oh no! The howitzer just wiped his teammate's machine gun. Oh, that was hilarious. Oh man. Looks like this Sturm Pioneer blob just walked right into a machine gun fire, and he dropped? Why did it drop? That's weird. Oh, he just dropped white phosphorus on the Austere base and dived with an M8, and apparently he just quit out of frustration. Wow, this has been this has been quite a game. This has been something. Meanwhile, it looks like the Over Commando players just, I don't know what he's doing, charging into a fighting position with the blob of Sturm Pioneers, then immediately using airborne assault right in front of it as a follow-up. It looks like Amerigasm does have a Sherman, so good move there. 18 minutes is a little late, but better late than never. I think the opponents are equally late on teching up. Take a look, it looks like, well, Burk, now that he's dropped, probably not going to be fielding much of all that impressive. The AI tends to start doing all kinds of weird stuff. M8 hunting down, AI half-track over here. And another AI half-track is being called in, the light vehicle spam begins. Austere AI loves light vehicles, just starts spamming half-tracks and 222s everywhere. Oh wow, gets hit by an infantry support gun. It's Vet 2 though, and it does have armor skirts, so I don't think the half-track will be able to penetrate it. I think he should be able to get away. Vet 3 actually, wow. Which gives it even higher sight range. So now the AI is just going to start doing all kinds of weird stuff. We will note 243 fuel at the point when he dropped. If he had just waited a little tiny bit longer, he would have been bringing in Tigers. That's so weird. I guess he just got frustrated by that white phosphorus barrage. Maybe also a canister round? I'm not sure. I missed the dive. I missed it. Repairs going up on the M8. We also, looks like we have the recon paradrop happening, so that's good. Unfortunately, the paradrop doesn't come with as many weapons as airborne paratroopers with the munitions upgrade. And honestly, I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. They used to be the same. At least the Thompsons used to be the same. 3 for the airborne squad, and also for the recon squad. But now the recon squad only has 3, whereas the airborne squad can go for 4. So I don't know if that's intentional, taking into account that the recon squad has no munitions cost, or if they just forgot or what. But that is an important difference to note, that the Thompsons have just a little bit less DPS as a recon squad than as an airborne squad. Looks like the pack howitzer did get decrewed, unfortunately, so he's back to square one. With that, he has produced a new ambulance. He has a rifle company, and he will very soon be able to bring in EZ8s. In fact, he already can, and he already has. His first EZ8 hitting the field now. His standard Sherman only has 5 kills, so it didn't actually make all that much of an impact. He's had it for a while. Wow, and that M8 just barely surviving by a hair again, getting a little too close to the Schwerpanzer headquarters. Schwerpanzer headquarters penetrating a lot of its shots on that Sherman, bringing it down pretty low. The EZ8 is much more reliable against the Schwer headquarters. It has just that little bit of extra armor to make penetration a lot less likely. So it's better to lead with that if possible. It's fully possible for a Schwerpanzer headquarters to solo a Sherman. If you stay in range too long. It looks like this machine gun got cleared by those grenadiers, but they are forced to retreat. Of course, this is just the AI.
Eyes on me. Tube ready.
Pack howitzer firing on this position. We also have a Stug being called in. This Sherman sustained some engine damage, but the EZ8 is following up, dealing nice damage to the infantry in the area, also possibly going to be able to destroy it entirely. We actually have hollow charge rounds being fired. Oh, and I think that hit. I think that's the first time I've ever seen hollow charge rounds hit a tank. Oh wow, it actually does a little AoE damage. Did you see that? It didn't actually have a direct hit, but it still did pretty okay damage. Alright, well he fired an entire barrage of that EZ8, which stayed stationary the entire time, and he didn't hit a single time. But the AoE did some damage, so I guess the hollow charge rounds, I saw them do damage. I still haven't seen a direct hit, but at least I saw them do damage. So that's fun. Meanwhile, it looks like Amerigasm's kind of struggling with the AI over here. The AI just kind of is erratic and spams. It can be difficult to deal with because it's just all over the map at once, and it can be frustrating. The best way to counter the AI, basically, is just to spam light vehicles, like Beemer's doing. Greyhound spam is probably like the perfect counter to the AI because it's dumb, and it's all over the place all the time. We do see that Beemer has produced a Sherman of his own, and the Americans are just kind of going on a rampage, blasting through everything the AI has. Meanwhile, the Overcommando player is kind of struggling to bring his forces to bear. That push by those tanks really hurt him. Why the AI insists on not purchasing a Tiger is beyond me. But okay. Eventually. I'll probably bring one in at like the 40-minute mark or something.
Panzer 4 is ready for battle.
Panzer 3 hitting the... or Panzer 4 hitting the field instead. And we also do have random harassment way in the back by some grenadiers over here. Overcommando player still reinforcing. Taking forever to get himself back in the game, possibly saving up for a big purchase. He's pretty far away from getting a King Tiger though. Still needs 40 fuel, so 2 minutes before he can purchase it, and basically 3 or 4 minutes before it actually hits the field and makes its entrance. In the meantime, it's going to be up to the AI's Panzer IV to hold off the Allied tank spam. Gotta say, I don't have a whole lot of confidence that it's going to be successful. Although, Amerigasm really needs to switch to AP rounds. Stolen Reckenwerfer gets a nice shot in. But that's the end of that Panzer IV. And the M8 gets the detonating shot, although it was already dead. Finally, a push is going down here. Looks like he has managed to decrew an unsupported AT gun, going to crew it with Obersoldaten, which is really expensive to do, but then again, Sturmpioneers is much better. And he's going to take advantage of that steal to destroy a fuel cache. We do have an M8A1 howitzer motor carriage hitting the field, and a third ambulance from Amerigasm. She's really struggling to keep those ambulances alive. The airdrop combat group is making its way down to counter-harass, or counter-attack rather. It's really harassment. Oh, that AT gun packed up at the worst time. Should have just left it exactly where it was. Probably could have... Well, maybe he wouldn't have been able to kill that. Oh, terrible canister shot. That did nothing. He wiped a full health pack with a canister shot earlier, and that canister shot on a completely dead pack did 0 damage, so that's... just goes to show how reliable that ability is. New Panzer IV on the field, sitting AFK in front of a Reckenwerfer. So much for that. We also have yet another half-track being produced. Counter-harass up here. And it looks like the Oberkommando player has been forced back. It's pretty much completely up to him to win the game. The AI can only do so much for so long before it just kind of runs out of steam and doesn't have anything left. Airborne assault getting called in here in the middle, which... I don't know if that was a good idea. He has no way of following up on that. I'm not sure what that accomplishes. He really risks losing that Fallschirmjäger squad too. He is running up to the north. Strafe continues, but everything's gone. And now he's just standing up there. Meanwhile, he does have a bit of a defensive line set up down here. 32 kills on this vehicle crew, by the way, which I think has crewed 2 different Greyhounds. Not sure. That's one of the fun things about USF is that they can evacuate the vehicle and you get to keep the veteran C on the next vehicle they get inside. So unit preservation is important, but mostly crew preservation is what's important more so than the actual vehicle itself, not so important. Looks like he's now charging headfirst into this machine gun, losing 1 full vehicle crew and getting suppressed. Just trying to focus it down at medium range. It looks like it's going to maybe get away though. Yes, it does. Pack howitzer bombarding as well, trying to get some shots off. The Reckenwerfer managing some snipes. The airborne are finally unsuppressed despite being under heavy fire. Shrek snipe. Well, another squad fully down. What is he doing? I don't know what he's paying attention to, but it wasn't that. I guess he was too busy microwing AT guns and his Sherman over here, which is also getting owned by a Stug. Fortunately, it managed to actually, wow. He won an engagement versus Stug, facing it backwards. That's pretty amazing. King Tiger is finally on the field though, and he's diving in unsupported, letting a Sherman, a bunch of Shermans actually, get right behind him. No protection on his flanks except for 1 Panzer Schreck. His Reckenwerfer is like somewhere. Not sure what he was thinking there, but now he's in an extremely awkward position. What is he doing? He's saved up for this unit for so long, and this is probably this is horrible. What is he going to do now? He's just rotating in circles. I mean, he's in a horrible position. I don't know what he was thinking diving in this deep. Oh, there's the Reckenwerfer. Does pretty okay damage. Takes out 1 Sherman, but I mean, what the hell was that? That was your chance at victory, and I would say you pretty much threw it away. So, wow. That's definitely GG. There's no coming back from that, I don't think. Oh, and he picked up a Shrek with his major. So, yep. 37 kills now on this vehicle crew as well. Surprised he doesn't throw it in a tank. A Vet 3 tank is a lot more useful than a... Well, actually, he already almost has a Vet 3 tank on this Sherman. Scott sitting AFK down here in the south, but whatever. And now he's just blown up this base. Alright, well I think that pretty much wraps up the game. There's nothing else to see here. I'm sure that they slowly over time beat back the AI, and yeah, that pretty much concludes things. So I hope you enjoyed the replay. I know I did. I have to say I've never seen a game quite like this one. Really weird usage of Recon Commander. No INR Pathfinders ever even hit the field, I don't think, and they're basically the best feature this doctrine has to offer. And he just plain spammed these Greyhounds, which I have to say had pretty much terrible effect. Amerigasm certainly did make a good use of the white phosphorus barrage. Apparently, all that was needed to make his opponent quit and in fury was to drop that on the enemy base and drive an M8 in there and canister around for good measure. So that was definitely a game-winning play right there, causing a rage quit from the Axis. So well played by the Americans, playing into the Axis rage. I hope you enjoyed the replay. If you did, you can always send me a game of your own, and I'm happy to do a cast for you. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.